Shalom, Apostle Har, coming back at you with this truth, giving all praises to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Bakah, Kodash. Anyway, okay, I was getting ready to do a video, and I'm checking my notifications, and then this one pops out. Bishop Melchizedek, which I believe that's a thun of the IUIC. Now the Apostle Gabar said, no, he's not a thun, he's somebody else. I saw videos, it's a different guy. But maybe it's a thun, putting up videos of somebody else, so you can think it's somebody else and not him. Anyway, he puts up, this is from this the video that I made, entitled, which is only on Elders in Transit 3, because they struck me down for a couple of months, and I just went to another channel. So I'm back at this channel and at the other channel, the current channel that I'm dealing with. Anyway, it says a comment on the Sabbath day, Romans 9 verse 32. And that script, that precept right there, that scripture, Romans 9 verse 32 and 33, you can maybe even go a couple of verses above that. When a Christian says that you think you're going in the kingdom by just keeping the laws, you hit them with that scripture and it shuts them up. Isaiah 13 on that day. Now, in that part of the video, which is the ending of the video, the tail end of the video, when Isaiah saw the vision of us speaking and saw himself, because Isaiah is among us too, if he's not in the spiritual realm. He's either one of the brothers. I don't know, don't ask me who he is. Or he's in the spiritual realm, that before he died, he was out here, teaching. Because through the years, you have brothers that get old and die, brothers that get sick and die, even sisters that get old or sick and die. So we don't know if he's here. Most likely he is. I believe he is. I don't know. I have no idea who he is. Same goes with Daniel and the rest of them. So I went through this, Isaiah 13, on that day, because what Isaiah saw, he didn't see people starving and stuff. He saw what the Most High showed him was us teaching, the angels coming down, the nations being gathered for war, in the Great Levant. Look that word up. And the destruction, the utter and complete destruction of this man's system. Because when Babylon goes down, this whole system goes down. Once this place goes down, we're gonna be delivered, Lord willing, if we are the elect. We're gonna be beamed up in chariots. And like I said before, we're going to be beamed up in Yahweh Shai's chariot, because his chariot can carry 10 million people if need be. So I believe the elect, and I'm not saying it because of my personal belief, I'm saying it because of Revelation chapter 11. It says that we're going to be lifted up, I'm paraphrasing, in a cloud. So I believe that the angels and their chariots are going to do damage by way of the laser technology, while the missiles is dusting off Babylon, literally, because it's going to turn into dust. And we're going to be delivered in that main chariot, pursuant to Revelation chapter 11. If you have a problem with that, hey, we're going to read Revelation chapter 11, nice and slow. Anyway, And I'm gonna also say a few things on health, nutrition, getting your body in shape. Anyway, okay, so let me shut the hell up and let me just read. Okay, let me stop giving you my rant and let me just read. Bishop Melchizedek, you have been corrected and exposed too many times about a false dark moon doctrine. And by the way, the dark moon doctrine, you have top scholars that teach that. You might say, oh, they're Edomites. They don't know. Well, we checked it out. And another thing, this is a doctrine that Bishop Nathaniel came up with recently. What was that? Back in 2016. For all those years, you had the IUIC. You never taught that. All of a sudden, one day you teach it, and then your followers blindly follow you. If a week before he said the full moon is a new moon, had I taught it, the people that followed, the people that are part of the IUIC, they would have a problem with it. That's what like I said, every time Bishop Nathaniel makes a statement, they automatically see it. What was this, 4 or 5 years ago? He said he went on a show with the older Benjamite that passed. I forget his name. Somebody put it in the description box. If you got the video, you can put that up too. And he made a statement. The man spoke about Jacob's trouble. Bishop Nathaniel, he made the statement. I'm not going to give you exact words. I have to see the video. He said, no, there's not going to be a time of Jacob's trouble. We're just going to be beamed up and we're going to get out for whatever he said, okay? As to the exact words, you got to watch the video. And the older gentleman got mad and said, what do you mean? He said, there's got to be a time of Jacob's trouble. And Bishop Nathaniel repeated, nope, there's not going to be a time of Jacob's trouble. Now, mind you, Jacob's trouble, the words Jacob's and trouble is found in Jeremiah chapter 30. Was it Jeremiah chapter 30, verse 7? And it says Jacob's trouble. When you read the whole chapter, Jeremiah chapter 30, then you understand, because you know what people do? They'll say, give me Jeremiah 30, verse 7, Jacob's trouble. But if you read the whole scriptures, even in Jeremiah chapter 30, as a matter of fact, I'm sorry, let me take this off and let me go to Jeremiah because it's a short chapter. Let me just breeze through it. Jeremiah. Jeremiah 30. I'm going to breeze through it. I'm going to mumble through it. 24 verses. Okay, let's go. Okay, it said deliverance from captivity promised. Which captivity? 18 verse. Restoration of Jacob. Like I said, let me just mumble through it. I'm not going to just read it outright. Okay, so let's start at 1. It said the word that came to Jeremiah or Jeremiah from Yahweh, saying, thus speaketh Yahweh. Now, the word God right there is Elohim, which they go off. Let me click on that. Because the blue letter goes off too. But we're well aware of that. Thus speaketh Yahweh. There it is, Yahweh, name of the Most High. Esau knows that much. God, Now it says here, it says Allah, Allah, ha, ya, which, I mean, they can say Allah. They can say Allah, but it means God. It means God in the singular. Then it says Allah, Hayyam, which means God in the plural sense. Let's click on that. Oh, and by the way, Vocab Malone is John Calvin. Vocab Malone, John Calvin came back in the reincarnation as Vocab Malone. And I've been saying that for the longest, and I got the confirmation from Elder Malcolm of the GMS Chicago camp leader. And he did a recent video. I was watching it, and I didn't even watch the whole thing because it made me get up. Here it is, 7 in the morning, right? It made me get up and do a video. And I highly recommend that you watch that video. Very good. You know, in about a little bit more than 20 minutes, but he says like 10 hours worth of stuff in like 20 minutes, a little bit more than 20 minutes. But he made a statement. He said, I believe that John Calvin, and if John Calvin was actually here in his right mind, because he's here in his vocab mind, if you know what I mean, John Calvin would try to join us. What he's trying to do right now, got the beard. He wants to be an Israelite. Hey, he might be he might be my boy Balaam. Because what did Balaam say in Numbers 23? He said he wished he could beat him. And I believe secretly, Vocab is a crypto-Israelite. Vocab is a crypto-Israelite. At the end of the day, if you can be somebody, if you have all the knowledge of the planet, of the world, you would want to be an Israelite. If you're not one, oh, I wish I could be an Israelite. Matter of fact, here I'm going in circles here, but let me go to that. Let me go to that. Numbers. Numbers 23. And I love this account of Balaam and Balak, because the Most High opened his eyes, even though he was of another nation, but he made a statement. He said at the end of it, when everything is said and done, oh, he wished he can be an Israelite. And he knows that he's not. So he knows he's going into slavery too. You should read the whole chapter, which is 23. I believe, Balak sends for Balaam, that's 22. Okay, the bronze. Okay, this is in the wilderness, and they're going to the promised land. They're getting ready to slaughter the Canaanites. So the story starts at Balak sends for Balaam. The angel in Balaam. Let's go to 23. The meat is in the 23rd chapter, the 24th chapter, but the account begins at the 22nd chapter, right? Okay, the prophecies of Balaam, we know prophecies meaning to say before. So this man is of another nation, but the Most High opened his eyes. He even says the man whose eyes were open, meaning his spiritual eyes. So can the Most High give other nations visions? Goddamn right. In a dream and a vision by night, when deep sleep falleth upon a man. So he gave Edomites. If an Edomite says this is going to happen, he had a dream about this, and you perceive it's a vision, you say, well, nah, that's not a vision because he's an Edomite. Edomites can have visions, man. Okay, there's not, okay, let me go right to the point. I'm so tempted to read this whole story, but I won't. If somebody wants to do a separate video on this, but this is a beautiful, this is one of my favorite accounts in the scriptures, because my man gets mad and said, look, let me tell you what these people are gonna do to you and these other people. They're gonna fuck you up in the future. Then he even saw Yahushua. He even saw the ships. He saw the father ships. He saw the angel them. Let me, 9 verse is the key verse. You know what? I'm so tempted to read this whole. Okay, when you read the first, let me go to the first verse, the prophecy of Balaam, right? And Balaam said unto Balak, which Balak is the king of Moab, which you got these individuals that call themselves Moors saying that Moors are in the Bible and Moabites. You're not Moabites. You're not Moabites. So the Moors don't know what the hell they're talking about. They know that law because I used to run with them years ago. I used to run with them guys as far as the law to get my law. They know that, they know the law. They know the law. Oh, definitely. They know their masters in constitution law, case law, which is common law out of England. It says, and Balaam said unto Balak, build me here 7 altars and prepare me here 7 oxen and 7 rams. So sacrifices were done before Moses came on the scene. Remember, they were keeping the laws, but the laws were unwritten laws. They were spoken laws. And Balak did as Balaam had spoken, and Balak and Balaam offered on every altar a bullock and a ram. And Balaam said unto Balak, stand by thy burnt offering, and I will go peradventure Yahweh. And that shows you that now that word right there is Yahweh. Click on it as Yahweh. So the other nations knew that the mighty Lord was Yahweh before Moses was on the earth. Yahweh will come to meet me, and whatsoever he showeth me, I will tell thee. And he went to an high place. This man, remember, mind you, he was of another nation. He wasn't an Israelite, and the Most High gave him visions. So if an Israelite tell you, no, that guy ain't no prophet, he don't see no visions, he's a heathen. Heathens see visions too. That's the topic. And the Most High met, and the Most High met Balaam, and he said unto him, I have prepared 7 altars, and I have offered upon every altar a bullock and a ram. Because what does the Most High like? He likes offerings of bullocks and rams, right? So we know he ain't making a burnt offering to another God. He's making it to Yahweh. 5th verse. And Yahweh put a word in Balaam's mouth and said, return unto Balak, and thus thou shalt speak. Look, go back to this guy, Balak, and tell him, I'm gonna tell you something. You go ahead and tell him. You go run, tell that. And he returned unto him, and lo, he stood by his burnt sacrifice, he and all the princes of Moab, because they wanted, when you read the whole account, excuse me, Okay, let's go back. 6th verse. And he returned unto him, lo, he stood by his burnt sacrifice, he and all his princes of Moab. And he took up this parable and said, Balak, the king of Moab, have brought me from Aram out of the mountains of the east, saying, come, curse me, Jacob, and come, defy Israel. See, the people feared them. They came out, you know, certain scholars say it was millions and 1 million, 600,000. But I mean, they came out in masses, and that put the nations around about them in fear. It says, and they heard about the miracles that took place, the curses. How shall I curse whom the Most High have not cursed? Therefore, ye sons of Jacob are not consumed, right? Because the Most High blessed us. And he blessed us based upon what our forefathers did, Abraham, going back to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. I use this analogy a lot. You know, you have a man that's your best friend. He's getting ready to die. That's your best friend, and you love him like a brother. And he has a son that's always getting in trouble, and you really don't like his son. But the man's dying words, he says, "Look, take care of my son." So you're taking care of the guy's son. You're looking out for his son because of the promises you made with his father. You might hate that boy, but you taking care of that son because of the promise that you made with his father. Do you understand that? So no matter what we do, we're the bad kid, we're baby's kids, right? But the Most High had to keep his promise with Abraham, going back to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. So no matter what we do, at the end of the day, when everything's said and done, we're gonna be delivered. Anyway, it says, a verse, how shall I curse whom the Most High have not cursed? Or how shall I defy whom the Lord Yahweh have not defied? Now, ultimately, we will curse because of the laws, right? And the fulfillment of prophecy. 9th verse. For from the top of the rocks I see him, and from the hills I behold him. Lo, the people, the Israelites, shall dwell alone and shall not be reckoned among the nations. Notice it says, and shall not be reckoned among the nations. I want to focus on this word reckon. Recollect, reckon, reckoned. The word in the Hebrew is kashab. To think, plan, esteem, calculate, invent, make a judgment, image, count, to think, account, to plan, devise, mean, to charge, impute, reckon. Reckon come from the word, you get the word recognize. To esteem, respect, value, regard, because they don't respect us. And the elite know that we're those people, and the elite know that they're going to be the first to go into captivity. Psalms 149. To be accounted. They're not saying, that's why when we say we're Israelites, what do? They give us a backlash. No, you're not the Israelites. I can believe the Ethiopians being Israelites. I can believe Chinese being Israelites. I can believe the so-called white man being Israel, but you guys are not the Israelites. Well, how can you disprove that? Or how can you prove that we're not the Israelites? Does not the scripture say we were scattered? Do a word search on scattered among the nations, among the heathen. So, and it's a fact that so-called black people, Puerto Rican people, which are the tribes, they like dealing with the other nations. That's why you have Jake. You have Jake that could be dark as hell and get with an Edomite woman, and the children look kind of Hispanic, right? That Indian look. And then that kid that has that Indian, Puerto Rican, Latino look, he gets with a blonde haired, blue eyed Edomite woman. And guess what? When they have a kid, that kid is gonna look like a white boy. But is he an Israelite? You damn right he's an Israelite. Being an Israelite has nothing to do with phenotype. It's the spirit, and the spirit comes through the seed of the man. It says to think upon, consider, be mindful of. They're not being mindful of. They're not saying if you go to a job interview and you fill out an application, you say you're a Hebrew or Israelite, you ain't gonna get that job. You ain't gonna get that job, guaranteed. So they recognize, the world recognizes that small hats are the people, which they're not the people. Because it said that they will not be recognized, they will not be accepted. They will not be esteemed as this great nation. And these people lose sleep. They lose sleep over the fact that we say that we're Israelites. Why do we say how do we know that we're Israelites? Well, one way is the fact that we out there raising hell saying it with the Israelites, which is a fulfillment of Ezekiel chapter 37. So let me go back to the 9th verse. For from the top of the rocks, I see him, and from the hills, I beheld him. Lo, the people shall dwell alone and shall not be reckoned or recognized among the nations. They don't recognize you as being Israelites. More proof that we're the Israelites, the fact that they don't recognize us. Tenth verse. Who can count the dust of Jacob and the number of the fourth part of Israel? Like who can count the number of 25% of all Israel? Israel's so big. Let's deal with Brazil. What's the population of Brazil? Look it up. What's the population of the Negroes in America? What's the population of the Puerto Ricans? What's the population of all the tribes? They're so big that they're each classified as nations. And plus, you got to understand that we spilt our seed in any war that we were in. Anytime Jake went to war, and when they had the RO, what do you call that? Rest and relax, R&R, which is rest and relaxation. Where do they go? How do they relax? By getting with the woman in that particular land. There's a lot of Israelites down there in Vietnam, down there in the Philippines, in that area in East Asia, the Far East. A lot of Jakes done left their seed in Japanese women. Matter of fact, I used to live out in Denver, in Colorado, in Denver. There was two sisters, right? They were fine as hell. One was finer than the other. They were both cute, but the one was like, I understand why Jacob wanted Rachel, because they were both looking good, but the older one was super fine, man. She could have been an actress, and she kind of looked like a Hawaiian. They both had like an Hawaiian look to them, like you would think they're Dominicans or Puerto Ricans or whatever, or Hawaiians or whatever. And they had the long hair and all that. And guess what? Their mother was Japanese, and their father was a Jake that fought in World War II and wound up bringing a Japanese woman back to America. And they had two daughters. And they didn't look like necessarily Jakes. They looked more Hawaiian, But guess what? They were Jakes, and they acted like Jakes. So the seed coming from the father. I don't give a damn how pasty white a Edomite woman looks. If a Judite lays with that woman, has a son, and that son gets with a pasty white, blonde-headed, blue-eyed Edomite woman, this grandson, the next generation, he gonna look just like an Edomite. But guess what? He's an Israelite. See, you got this thing out with FOPI, and they're gonna be watching that all the tribes are black. So they're going by a phenotype. That shows you that the spirit is not working with them at all. Point blank, period. It says, who can count the dust of Jacob and the number of the fourth part of Israel? Let me die the death. Let me die the death of the righteous. Who are the righteous? The Israelites. And let my last end be like his, or the Israelites. In other words, when everything's said and done, I pray that I could be an Israelite. But guess what? He can't, because the Most High set you up to the seed of your father, that you're one of the nations. Good thing though, you're not an Edomite. So, that's the last thing you want to be, is an Edomite. That's another topic right there. The last thing you want to be is an Edomite. And Esau knows that. So now, let's go back. Well, let's go back to okay, I'm trying to find a comment. Yeah, I'm trying to bring back up the comment. I gotta watch this Deacon Destruction group, Destruction Mode, I'm sorry. Upload Sister Cherry teams up with racist Christian to take down Black Hebrew Israelite. Yeah, because she's a mammy. That's a mammy. That's a big mama in the house. The pet gorilla of Vocab Malone. Okay, give me a second. Give me a second, and I'll bring up the comment. Okay, I can't find it. Because even if he took it down, it should still be okay. Here it is. Here it is. Okay, so it says here, let me open it up. Bishop Melchizedek, you have been corrected and exposed to many times about a false dark moon doctrine as a full moon, even the Akim from Europe that you all threatened, corrected you all. I don't know who that. You gotta give me a who's that? I don't remember no European guys that corrected us. Stop the BS. The new moon is the full moon, which is clearly a false doctrine. Then he goes to this one scripture, and this is the thing that kills And full moon is a new moon. It says Ecclesiastes 43, verse 6. He made the moon also to serve in her seasons for a declaration of times and a sign of the world. Ecclesiasticus 43, verse 7. From the moon is the sign of feast. It says a light that decreaseth, okay, it decreases, meaning it's a full moon. I agree with that. What does it mean that it decreases? It wanes. It waxes when it's that you see that sliver, and it grows to a full circle, like a yellow, dark yellow mass of light. So it says a light that decreases in her perfection. So what does it mean to be perfect? It means that her perfection is what? A light that decreases in her perfection, right? The moon, her perfection is when the moon is new, right? I mean, is when the moon is full, okay? It says the month is called after her name. It says increasing wonderfully in her changing, being an instrument of the armies above, shining in the firmament of heaven. It says the beauty of heaven, the glory of the stars, an ornament giving light in the highest places of the Lord. Meaning, wherever you go, look up, you see the moon, right? Let me read this again. It says 43, verse 7. For the moon is the sign of feast, right? Because when does the Passover come in? It comes in on the full moon, right? But what time of the month did that come in? 2 weeks after the new moon. You know what I'm gonna have to do? Let me go to Ecclesiasticus so I can read it this way. Bear with me for a minute. Okay, I gotta do it this way. Okay, Apocrypha. Bear with me for a minute. Apocrypha. Online. Apocrypha. Bear with me for a minute. Okay, this is not it. I can use this, but I don't want to use this one. Matter of fact, you know what? Let me see what this apocrypha. Okay. Let me try this one. Ecclesiasticus, Book of Sarah. Okay, I want to go to Ecclesiasticus. $43, is it? You know what I got to do? Let me do it this way. I'm not familiar with this. This should be the one. Okay, here we go. I'll put this in my favorites. Okay, let me go to Ecclesiasticus. Is that 43 or 47? Okay, great is the Lord that made it. He made the moon also to serve in her seasons for a declaration of times and a sign of the world. From the moon is a sign of feast, a light that decreaseth. That's full moon. Yep, a light that decreaseth, that wanes in her perfection. What is her perfection? What is her perfection? When she's full. Okay. So is that the moon's starting point? No. It says the month is called after a name, increasing wonderfully. What does it mean increasing? To wax. To wax, meaning you had that sliver, then a week later, you got like the quarter moon. No, I'm sorry, the half moon. Then a week later, 2 weeks, you got the full moon. So the Passover is on the full moon, but what do you start at? The starting point is what? The new moon, which the moon is almost invisible. Its perfection is what? Let's read the 7th verse again. From the moon is the sign of feast. When you keep the Passover, 14th day at evening, you look up in the sky, what do you see? You see a full moon. When our Lord was crucified, there was a full moon up there 2 weeks after the new moon. It says a light, meaning the full moon, that decreaseth in her perfection. What is a perfection? When she's a full moon. So she starts to what? She starts to wane. When you see that one slither, we'll call it she, because it says her, she begins to wax, meaning she begins to grow. The light begins to grow. It says the month is called after her name, increasing wonderfully. What does the word increase mean? It means to augment, to become bigger, right? If you go to the gym, you're skinny, you're puny, you start lifting weights, and you can people say, oh, you're starting to get abs. I see the bicep. Oh, you starting, you got the before and after pictures. You started going to the gym, and then a year later, you're all built. You're ready to compete in bodybuilding contests and so forth. Same thing with the moon. There's always a starting point. The starting point is not the moon, being in its full brightness. It's when you don't see the moon. It says the month, the word month is moon, is called after her name, increasing. So the starting point is when you don't see anything. When it increases wonderfully, what does that mean? The first quarter, the second quarter, which is the full moon, the third quarter, and then the fourth quarter goes into the new moon when the moon disappears. Wonderfully, what does it say? The month is called after her name, increasing, growing, augmenting wonderfully in her changing. What does it mean by changing? Because the moon, for lack of a better term, grows. The light, you see the form of the moon, being an instrument of the armies above, shining in the firmament of heaven. Shining in the firmament of heaven means her perfection. Her perfection. Let's go back to that. From the moon is a sign of feast. We celebrate the feast of Passover, for example, when the moon is full. But when does the new moon come? Hold up. I just saw something else. You celebrate the Passover when you look up in the sky, the moon is full, right? The moon is full, right? Well, actually, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You guys celebrate the Passover when the moon is new. So you're going off. You clearly going off. Except from the moon is the sign of feast, a light that decreases in its perfection. When it's full, it starts to wane. It starts to wane. So you have the 4-week cycle. The fourth week is what? A new moon again. Let me look up the word perfection. It says it starts to decrease in its perfection. So this is I don't give a damn how many precepts you come up with. You guys are clearly going off. And you know what? GMS is always the one that we're the true defenders of the gospel. None of these other camps, they'll say, you can't bang it. No, we're correcting you. Okay, so let me go to the Common Dictionary. Let me go to Google. Okay, let me go to Google. Bear me for a minute. Look up the word perfection. Perfection. The condition, state, or quality of being free or as free as possible from all flaws and defects. Let me try perfect. Perfect. Meaning. Definition. Having all the required or desirable elements, qualities, or characteristics as good as it is possible to be. absolute, complete, absolute, complete. Make something completely free from faults or defects, or as close to such a condition as possible. So when is the moon in her perfection? When the moon is full. Then it goes, let's come back. Then it goes, it says, from the moon is a sign of feast. So when we're keeping it, I'm using that as an example. When we're keeping the Passover, you look up in the sky, you know that you're keeping the feast right because you're looking up at the moon, and the moon is a complete circle, which is the full moon, not the new moon. The new moon came 14, 15 days before that, right? So we know when we look up in the sky and we don't see the moon, we see that little sliver, we know, and it's the first month of the year, because the trees start budding. You know, we had counters back there. We had guys that looked up in the sky, and you even had the first hour of the day, the second hour of the day. You had night watches. So when the new moon came, you didn't see the moon at all. You didn't see the moon. Then a week later, you saw like a half moon. Then another week, 2 weeks, which is 14 days going in the evening, the moon is full. So on the night of the Passover, you looked up and you saw a full moon. So when does a new moon come in? Not when the moon is full. The new moon comes in, you know, when you don't see anything. It says, from the moon is a sign of feast, a light, because you do everything based upon the new moon, which you don't see anything. A light that decreases in her perfection. That goes, decrease means to go down. Do I got to look that up? What is her perfection? When it's full. When is it new? When you have a baby, does a baby come out of the mother's womb a grown ass man? No, it comes up as a newborn baby because it's small. And it starts as a fetus. The word fetus is Latin for little one. The same thing with the moon. The same thing with the moon. A verse, the month is called after her name because the word moon, the word month means moon. Look it up. Increasing, what does it mean to increase? To grow, to augment, right? Wonderfully. What does it mean by increasing wonderfully? You got the first quarter, which is a half moon, right? You got the second quarter, 14 days in, going into the 15th day. You got the full moon. And I use the Passover, keeping the Passover, and that moon is shining down on you, which is full, because it was new 2 weeks before that. So you guys are going off again. You're going off again. Just like Bishop Nathaniel went off on the Cornelius thing and kicked us out the synagogue. And now he teaches it. Here he is going off again. And you know what? He's going off on the Charagma. Let me get back to this. Bear with me for a minute. Okay. So you clearly off because you following the guy that he goes off. He's clearly off. Okay, so now let me go into this. I'm a little all over the place. Yeah, but watch this video, the Sabbath day, which is on Elders in Transit 3. The Sabbath day, Romans 9, verse 32, as a heavy one for the Christians when they tell you, oh, these Israelites just believe you can go to the kingdom by keeping the law. Read to them Romans 9, verse 32. Isaiah 13 is talking about Isaiah saw us teaching the word, shake the hands, that they may go into the gates of the noble, that we get this fame, and we're already famous, and the nations of the various nations with their militaries coming into the Middle East, okay, including Russia. Russia's going, whatever's going to happen with Russia and Ukraine, they're going to drop all that, or they're going to beat and took Ukraine over, and then they're going to come down into the Middle East with the U.S., with Germany, with which now Germany and Germany and other European Union, NATO nations purchase oil from Russia. So they have deals going, even though there's separate alliances. They still have alliances with Russia. They still have alliances with Russia. It's all going to culminate when they all come together. Revelation chapter 20, verse 7. I got to read that. I must be allowed to read it. Because Elder Lahab said, oh, that's talking about we're going to be in the kingdom for 1,000 years and Esau is going to secretly gather and take us down again. That's not going to happen. You're not knowing the scriptures. Satan freed from what? You got to go to the first verse. He was bound for 1,000 years. That was during the time of the so-called Byzantine Empire. It said Revelation 20, verse 7. And when 1,000 years are expired, what 1,000 years? The 1,000 years that this devil was locked in under the Byzantine Empire. And when 1,000 years are expired, Satan shall be loose out of his prison. That's talking about starting point, late 1400s, Renaissance area, Columbus coming to the Americas. And it shall go out to deceive the nations, and that's what they did. If you didn't believe in their form of Christianity, you were put to death. And the Renaissance Christianity started long before Christopher Columbus got over here, because they forced you to be a Christian through the Inquisition. Look that up. Go into the history on that. Led by Torquemada. If you didn't believe in Christianity and the so-called white Jesus, they killed you, they tortured you. That's the history of Christianity. And shall go out to deceive the nations, first through their Christianity, now through their ultimate deception is the charagma, which are in the four quarters of the earth, the whole earth, Gog and Magog, talking about Russia, to gather them together to battle, and the number of whom is as the sand of the sea. That's getting ready to happen. It ain't going to happen 1,000 years. But we're in the kingdom for 1,000 years, and Gog is going to just come out of nowhere. And they went up on the breadth of the earth and compassed the camp of the saints. The camp of the saints are two things. The camp of the saints, the camp of the saints are is the land of Israel, Palestine. The camp of the saints are also the Israelites. And the beloved city is two things: the land, Palestine, and the people. It tells you that in Isaiah 52. And fire came down from the Most High out of heaven and devoured them. What's the fire? The fire from the missiles. And the devil which this proves right here, this man is a devil. The devil that deceived them. When did he first deceive them? Going back to Columbus, coming to the Americas. And who was the first he deceived? The Israelites, which were of the northern kingdom. And the devil, because when they came over here, I got to say this again, when Christopher Columbus came over here, he had Torres, which was a top interpreter, right? He spoke 5 languages. One of them was Hebrew. He spoke fluent Hebrew. And Christopher Columbus chose him. Cristobal Colon chose him because he had to have known that the people that he was going to encounter were Hebrews. I have a book, History of the Indians by James Adair. And it tells you that he settled, he lived among them, and they were speaking Hebrew. They were calling on Yahweh. When they said fire, they said ash, which is Hebrew for fire. Their ceremonies were Hebrew ceremonies. Gad is known for rocking the fringes. Why? Because they were Israelites. It says, and the devil that deceived them was cast into the lake of fire, which is symbolic, poetic for this Babylon being on fire. And Babylon is going to be on fire and brimstone, where the beast and the false prophet are, and shall be tormented day and night forever and ever. And the torment is going to come through them being in captivity. Okay, so I had to read that. Okay, where was I? Okay, so now if you go back to, let's go back to Numbers. Okay, Numbers. Now let's go to 20. Let's go deal with this briefly. Okay, so this Balaam was telling Balak, look, you can't curse these people. The Most High blessed them. They're the Most High. They're the children of Yahweh. So the Balak, the Moab, king of Moab, he persisted. He said, I want them to be cursed. I want you to curse them. So he got mad. And the whole part with the ass and donkey and all that, with the angel with the sword, it says, Numbers 24, verse 14, and now behold, I go unto my people, come to it, and I will advertise thee what this people of Israel shall do to thy people in the what? In the latter days. And then as you read down, it says, we're gonna jack them up. Not just Moab, because it says, he mentions Edom, comes down in the 18th verse. And Edom shall be a possession. Seir also shall be a possession for his enemies, and Israel shall do valiantly, right? Now let's look up the word latter days, right? It says, let me tell you what these people are going to do in the latter days. What they're going to do in the end of this thing, which is now. Let me look up the word latter days. Latter days definition. Of present or recent times, latter days, latter day prophets of a latter or subsequent time. I'm not going to go into the biblical definition. I just want to see what the secular world has to say. Latter days is used to describe someone or something that is a modern equivalent of a person or thing. In the past, he holds the belief that he is a latter day prophet. So latter days, let's come back. Let's get the biblical meaning. Let's do this. Latter days meaning in the Bible. What does latter mean in the Bible? I don't like that definition. What is last days according to the Bible? On the last days, all the dead will resurrect. Their souls will then be reunited with the same bodies they had before dying. Now that's parabolic. The bodies will then be changed, those of the wicked to a state of everlasting shame and torment, those of the righteous to an everlasting state of celestial glory. They really don't understand it. Anyway, let's do this. Let's come back to where did I lose this? Okay, here we go. Latter days. Let's take the word latter days. And I did this before. This is for you newer people out there. Latter days. First time it's mentioned, Numbers 24 and 10. Let me tell you what these people are going to do in the latter days. We're in the latter days. Deuteronomy 4 verse 30, when thou art in tribulation, and all these things are come upon thee, even in the latter days, if thou turn to the Lord, Yahweh, thy power, and shall be obedient unto his voice. I'm not going to read the rest. Evil will before you in the latter days. Okay, I started with this Jeremiah 30, verse 24. The fierce anger of Yahweh will not return until he have done it, and until he have performed the intent of his heart. In the latter days ye shall consider it. Now in that same chapter, in the 7th verse, it says Jacob's trouble. Jacob's trouble will come in the latter days, and it's only going to come one time. Jeremiah 48 verse 47. Yet will I bring the captivity of Moab in the latter days, saith the Lord, thus far as a judgment of Moab, because Moab is going to come up under us too. They're going to be our servants. Jeremiah 49 verse 39. But it shall come to pass in the latter days that I will bring again the captivity of Elam, saith Yahweh, because they're going to be under us too. Ezekiel 38 verse 16. And thou shalt come up against my people of Israel as a cloud to cover the land. It shall be in the latter days. We're in the latter days. Who's over there in Israel? The small hats, and you have a couple 100,000 Israelites over there. And I will bring thee again my land, that the heathen may know me when I shall be sanctified in thee, O God, before their eyes. Now this right here goes hand in hand with the scripture I just read, Revelation 20 verse 7. That's what it's talking about. Daniel 2 verse 28, right? We're checking the word latter days. But we're in the latter days, but there is a power in heaven that reveals secrets. And who does he reveal his secrets to? His prophets. Maketh known to the king Nebuchadnezzar what shall be in the latter days. Because did not Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, did not he have these visions? Did not he have these visions? So he saw the destruction too. You know? Let me click on that. For you newer cats out there. The king's forgotten dream. And in the second year of the reign of Nebuchadnezzar, Nebuchadnezzar dreamed dreams wherewith his spirit was troubled, and his sleep break from him. He woke up, it was a bad dream, it was a nightmare to him. And he went to his so-called wise men, and he said, no, I forgot the dream. Tell me what the dream was all about. If you don't tell me what the dream is, because they'll do is, this is what I had a dream. This happened, that happened. Then they'll make shit up. Oh, that means this, and this means this, Osiah. But guess what? Guess what Daniel did? Give me a second. Give me a second. Right, but if ye will not make known unto me the dream, there is but one decree for you, for ye have prepared lying and corrupt words to speak before me. You're gonna tell me some, BS. Till the time be changed. Therefore, tell me the dream. Tell me what I dreamt, and then break it down, and I shall know that ye can show me the interpretation thereof. So none of them could do that. But guess what? Daniel did it. Let me come down to the verse. Bear with me for a minute. Uh, 14th verse, 13th verse. And the decree went forth that the wise men should be slain. And they saw Daniel and his fellows to be slain. Then Daniel answered with counsel and wisdom to, what is that? Erech, the captain of the king's guards, which was gone forth to slay the wise men of Babylon. He answered and said to Erech, the king's captain. I don't know if that's it looks like an R. I can't see it hardly. The king's captain, why is the decree so hasty for the king? Then Erech made the king known to Daniel. Then Daniel went in and desired of the king that he would give him time and that he would show the king the interpretation. Then Daniel went to his house and made the thing known to Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, his companions, that they would desire mercies of the Most High of heaven, concerning this secret, that Daniel and his fellows should not perish with the rest of the wise men of Babylon. The secret is revealed to Daniel. Then was the secret revealed unto Daniel in a night vision. So the Most High gave him a vision and showed him the same vision that the Most High gave to Nebuchadnezzar. He showed him the same vision. And then he gave him the breakdown. This is what it means. So can another nation have visions of the latter days? You got damn right. I gave you 2 examples. Then Daniel blessed the Most High of heaven. Daniel answered and said, Blessed be the name of the Most High forever and ever, for wisdom and might are his. And he changeth the times and the seasons. He removeth kings and setteth up kings. He giveth wisdom unto the wise and knowledge to them that know understanding. What does he say? He sets up kings, right? He sets up kings and he brings down kings. He revealeth the deep and secret things. He knoweth what is in the darkness, and the light dwelleth with him. But anyway, as you read down, he breaks it down and he goes into what? Let me come down and I'll get ready to close it. Now to show you that these Edomites at the blue letter, they understand the interpretation. It says the king's dream. Then it says the interpretation, Babylon, the first kingdom, Medio Medo, Persian, and Greece, which it says here, it says 39 verse, and after thee shall arise another kingdom inferior to thee, the Babylonians, and another third kingdom of brass, which shall bear rule over all the earth. That's the Greeks. The all the rulership. They took more land than the previous kingdoms, but it's not the whole earth. Then it says Rome, Rome, from the 40th verse to the 43rd verse, and then it goes into the kingdom, which they don't. The divided kingdom. The divided kingdom is talking about NATO and the EU. It's talking about NATO, EU, the NATO nations, which consists of America and Canada. Anyway, you know what? I went a little long. With that, I'm gonna say shalom.